Hi everyone, my name is Heather Leidy and I'm an associate professor in the Department of Nutrition Science at Purdue University, and I'm super excited to be partnering up with the Center Middle School to implement the new Egg-cellent Breakfast in the Classroom program. And as you know, the spring semester we are simply targeting the 8th grade classrooms to roll this out on a smaller scale with the intent of implementing this program in the fall with 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. And so we were hoping just to give you some background information about why we're doing the study, what the study procedures consist of, and what your role would be as an 8th grade teacher. So with that, I'm going to switch it to more of a presentation style, this is going to be really more of a shock and awe, but at least it'll give you some more information, and then you're more than welcome to contact me later should other questions arise.
For this next segment, what I would like to do is to provide some more information in terms of why we feel that breakfast is beneficial, and then also talk about the procedures that are included within the Egg-cellent Breakfast in the Classroom program and what your 8th grade students will be doing should they decide to be a part of the study. So in terms of thinking about breakfast, whether breakfast is beneficial or whether it maybe doesn't matter if individuals skip breakfast, there's a lot of health-related outcomes that have been associated with this eating behavior. And so I'm just going to touch on these really, really quick today, but just know that there is a decent amount of data, particularly from our lab and others, that illustrate this point. And so when individuals skip breakfast, when you're looking at it from children and adolescents, we see that breakfast skippers actually have unhealthy snacking behaviors. So when you compare a breakfast skipper versus a breakfast consumer, we see that breakfast skippers actually eat more high-fat, high-sugar snacks in the afternoon and evening hours. They also have more poor diet quality in terms of they have more fast food consumption. They eat less fruits and vegetables, have less dairy consumption, really, again, leading to this poor diet quality. And some of the mechanisms, if you will, in terms of why we think this is happening, have to do with these two aspects. There is an increase in overall feeling of hunger in the morning that is elevated throughout the day when individuals skip breakfast. And we also see an increase in food cravings, particularly on high-fat foods when the morning meal is skipped. And all of these top pieces here really play a role in leading to this very strong association that we see with breakfast skippers, such that there is an increase in weight gain, increase in body fat, specifically increase in BMI, and then a higher prevalence of being overweight and obese. Some of these other important factors is that breakfast skippers typically have poor school performance based on their school grades, and they also practice a number of unhealthy behavior patterns. A few just of point of emphasis is that they have more disciplinary problems. They also have poor absenteeism, so there's it's not that they're skipping school, but generally they're sick and they're staying home from school more often than individuals who consume breakfast. And so we've done a series of studies in our lab really trying to target protein in the morning, because we know the health benefits with protein, and we really wanted to see whether it had an effect at breakfast. And so we found within our studies is that all these weight management related outcomes as well and diet quality are improved with when a high protein breakfast is consumed. Some of the other points, though, that really haven't been teased out is this idea of whether eating a higher protein breakfast can improve school performance, as well as some of these other unhealthy behaviors. So in short, this is really why we have an emphasis of targeting a higher protein breakfast in the morning and then pairing that with breakfast in the classroom, because the main issue is we know that most kids skip breakfast. They are not eating at home. They don't really want to eat in the cafeteria for breakfast. And so it really is this combination of trying to eat more protein in the morning as well as implementing breakfast in the classroom. We hypothesize that there will be benefits with this idea. And so the purpose of the Egg-cellent Breakfast in the Classroom is to test whether this program increases school breakfast participation and breakfast consumption, that it improves appetite control, mood, and cognitive performance, along with decreasing unhealthy snacking behavior. And then another really key point is decreasing breakfast waste. And this would be happening in the Center Middle School adolescents. And as we said earlier, we are part of Purdue, and we have a Purdue grant to do this study. And it's also partnered with the Egg Nutrition Center. So in terms of the pilot study, which will occur this spring, and then the bigger study will roll out in the fall, we're targeting the 8th grade students at Center Middle School, and they'll participate in about a 3-week breakfast in the classroom program during the spring semester. And I'll talk about specific dates here in a minute. Again, it is a breakfast in the classroom kiosk, which is a grab-and-go format. The students will come in from school in the morning. They will go into the hallway. There'll be kiosks set up. They'll grab their breakfast meal in a bag, take it to the room, and consume it there. This is provided to every 8th grade student. All breakfast meals meet the USDA requirements, but what we're doing is adding an additional 2 eggs per day to this breakfast to make it a higher quality, higher protein breakfast meal. Some of the study procedures that we're going to implement will target health-related outcomes, but I think it's important to make sure you're aware of a couple things. Only the students who want to participate will do these study procedures. All right, and these are the ones that have given written assent and parent consent. They're the only ones that will take part in the study procedures. But keep in mind that all 8th grade students, regardless of whether they're in the study or not in the study, will be given the Egg-cellent Breakfast in the classroom. And then those that decide to participate in the study procedures, in terms of some of those health-related outcomes, they will receive a $25 gift card to Ward Parkway. Here are some examples of the breakfast meals that we're thinking about implementing. And you can see, obviously, there's eggs in each of these breakfast meals, but then there's a number of other healthy options, also having fruit and milk and whole grains throughout these. So you can see breakfast burritos, quesadillas, muffins. They're kind of the grab-and-go approach. And then, obviously, French toast. It's a new trend now with an egg pop, which is a hard-boiled egg on a stick. So these are some of the things that we're going to roll out and see if the students like them and see if it actually improves some of these outcomes of interest. In terms of what you'll see within the classroom, I wanted to show you the pilot study procedures that we're wanting to roll out. And in short, there will be a baseline week, which is a pre-breakfast in the classroom week. And then the students will eat breakfast in the classroom, and then there'll be post-testing week, which is very similar to this one. And so we would like to start that May 1st, which is on a Tuesday. And then you can see this goes Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Monday, in terms of the baseline week. And what you're seeing here are the outcomes that we will be collecting, as well as the time of collection. And we tailor the times around the school time of day in terms of when classes rotate, as well as when we would ideally like to collect these outcomes. And so the first piece here is really just having the students have their height and weight measured. That's going to happen sometime during that week outside of your classroom, and so that will have no bearing on you in terms of that's not something that you have to schedule. But some of these other ones will actually be happening within your class period. And the first one, and all of the rest of these are questionnaires that are done on their Chromebooks. They just simply go to a link and take the questionnaires, and you can see here the amount of time that it takes to do these. And so the appetite and mood questionnaires, they're going to do 5 of these throughout the morning for 3 days on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And these are the time of days in which these are occurring. And we'd like to track this, both in the morning as soon as they get there, and then, up to really right before they have lunch. They will do a demographic and eating habits questionnaire after that, which takes about 10 minutes, and you'll see when that starts. And so these are really happening during that intervention period in the morning. We also have a breakfast consumption questionnaire, and this is really assessing what they habitually eat or what they actually ate that day. And so these are the 3 main questionnaires that they'll do. And you can see that, some of these only occur on 1 day, some are 3 days, and then some are across the week. And we will have posters made up, and we can put them in your classroom. And so the only instruction that you will have to do on a given day is refer to the students, simply saying, if you're participating in the Breakfast in the Classroom study, please keep in mind that this is the time frame that you need to do these questionnaires. And that would be the extent of what your involvement would be with the study. Another component is really looking at cognitive performance. And we're calling it the Boiler Brain Games, which is what they are. They're really assessing attention, memory, problem-solving skills. And this takes about 15 minutes to do. And we're not sure if this is doable. So I included this with knowing that, obviously we don't want any class time taken up to do these tasks. So it really just depends on whether the students have free time or if we period, roughly we would like that to start somewhere between 10 and 10:30 a.m. But we can discuss that more in the next week. And then lastly, the breakfast in the classroom would begin the Tuesday after the full week of the pre-breakfast in the classroom, which is what you'd see here. In terms of the questionnaires, as I said, they'll be completed on the student Chromebooks. The students will actually go to a Google folder, and within that they will have links to click on. So in this case, they would simply just click on the link. They're going to put their Chromebook ID, put the date, and then in this case, this is just asking them how hungry they are, and they would just literally complete that and then move on to the next one. And it's very easy for them to follow. No instructions are needed because all the instructions are included within the questionnaires. In terms of the timeline, we have begun recruitment. Ideally, we would like all of the assent and consent forms back in to actually begin baseline procedures May 1st. We would like to begin breakfast in the classroom May 8th, and then the post-study procedures would occur May 21st. So that's just the timeline that we're thinking of. And so with that said, I just want to thank the key individuals that I've been collaborating with. Without Linda Williams and Michelle Cruz, this wouldn't have been possible. And so I just want to, big shout out to them. I also want to thank all of the teachers because this is a study that's happening within the school system. And, the new breakfast in the classroom is also rolling out at the same time. And so we appreciate your patience and your dedication to helping the students and, helping us get our research completed. And it's always nice to put a face to names and whatnot. And so this is the Leidy Lab group that we have. You will see Steve Douglas throughout the schools during the baseline period as well as post-study. He's a PhD student, and this pilot study will be part of his doctoral dissertation. And so he will be meeting with the teachers, or at least, you will see him in the hallways, and he is there to troubleshoot should anything go awry. And so with that, I just want to thank you. And, feel free. My email is on the front of the slides. If you have specific questions for me, feel free to send me an email. And I'm happy to answer anything that you have. Thank you.